Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Virginia, and before the July 4th holiday, I wanted to bring you one more farmhouse decor DIY video. Dollar Tree has a ton of great farmhouse items out right now, right before we transition from summer into fall. I know that sounds kind of crazy. It's not even July yet, but you guys know Dollar Tree comes out with their fall items in end of July. But I want to do a couple more farmhouse and regular styled home decor videos before we get back into the seasonal decor. For this, I am using one of the tag signs that the Dollar Tree had with their coastal collection, but I'm going to be covering it with one of their wallpaper stickers. They have a bunch of different designs. This white shiplap is one of my favorites. I use it quite a bit, and it's much larger than a sheet of scrapbooking paper. So for $1.25, it is a little bit more expensive than maybe the 50-cent paper you'll buy at Hobby Lobby, but to me, it's like you're getting two pieces of scrapbooking paper in one. This watering can came from one of the hanging spring garden signs from the Dollar Tree. You can find it in the garden section. And I love the staying alive pun, but for this DIY, it didn't quite make sense. So I'm taking one of my rub-on transfers. This is a peony, and I got it from Essential Stencil. They're a stencil and rub-on transfer company. I really love their rub-on transfers. For this, I did end up having to go in with one layer, and then I got another peony that I just cut out. You could see a little bit of the staying alive poking through just on that center peony, so I did go ahead and rub-on transfer one more on top, so we had two transfers to make sure that all of that wording was covered up. You'll see in just a second that I start to really design this sign when I bring out some burlap flowers that I created. I had two ideas for this sign. The first one was the watering can sprinkling out or kind of pouring out the burlap flowers, but with this shape of the sign, it didn't quite work. So instead, I decided to have the burlap flowers look like they were inside of the watering can and kind of coming out of it. And I will show you in just a second how to create your own burlap flowers. They're so easy. I usually do them in a mass quantity while I'm watching a show on TV. I just kind of have my burlap flowers there, and by the time the show is over, I have a couple done. I started with a piece of burlap ribbon, but you could also just use a square of burlap fabric. You are then going to start pulling the pieces of the burlap that are going vertically, and the first couple can be a little tough. If you have any needle nose pliers, I would really recommend those, but once you start pulling them out, the rest gets easier and easier, and you can see the design starting to take shape. Then, to roll up our flowers, I took hot glue on one side, and we're going to fold our burlap piece in half and hot glue it into place. The rest is super easy. I love how these flowers come out because I think they look way more difficult than they actually are. You're now going to start rolling up your burlap piece. You can already see the flowers starting to take shape, and periodically I do go in and place some hot glue down just to make sure, again, everything stays in place. You can make this as long as you want. The longer the piece of your burlap fabric, of course, the more full your flower is going to be. Once you have your desired fullness, you can cut off the end of your burlap piece. Then you're just going to start pushing down the bits of the burlap loops, and you can see that the flower is taking shape. When I'm making a large batch of these flowers, I like to use different colored buttons as the center of our flower, but for this DIY, I had some Sola wood flowers. I know the Dollar Tree also sells a similar wood flower, so for a couple of those, I did place the smaller roses on the inside of the flower, and then I kept my other burlap flowers that had the more neutral buttons like the brown and the white color. This Dollar Tree sign originally was held up with a piece of jute through two of the holes up top, but because I have covered those now with the wallpaper sticker from Dollar Tree, I instead made a loop. I used the nautical rope from Dollar Tree, and I just hot glued it in the back so that I can hang it, I think, in my hallway. The next DIY is really quick and easy, but I still wanted to include it because I think this is a great way to add a bit of farmhouse decor to your home without taking up too much time or being too complicated of a craft. The Dollar Tree sells, I believe, two styles of these arches. I'm using the rounded ones, but I know that they also have ones that have more of a pointed top to them. The Dollar Tree sells these farm animal stands. This one, of course, is a pig, but I know that they also have it in a cow. And the back says, "Life is better on the farm." But for this one, I flipped it on the reverse side, and using my Cricut, I did cut out the words "oink," but you could always use some paint or a pen. I was really surprised. Last Friday, I went to my local Dollar Tree that I always go to, and all of the summer florals were gone, and they had tons and tons of the fall florals. I didn't pick up any, and I'm already regretting it because you guys know if you don't pick it up immediately at Dollar Tree, it might not be there the next time. So I did have to go into my flower stash and use some of this lamb's ear that I got off of a previous Dollar Tree pick, and I added some of the cotton you can find in the Crafter Square section or garden section at the Dollar Tree. Next, keeping in that farm theme, I didn't do anything with cows for this video, but I wanted to do something with milk, so we have at least part of the cow in today's DIY video. I did a quick makeover on this Farmhouse Dollar Tree sign, first painting it entirely white and then going in with Moss by Waverly to distress it. I typically distress with brown, so I wanted to change it up a little bit and do green today. I also grabbed one of these stencils from the Crafter Square section, and I laid it down on the main part of my sign, and I did go in first with Mod Podge because I have read that that helps to make sure that when you're stenciling, none of the paint bleeds through. Then I went in and just used a little bit of paint and did the dabbing method. It came out pretty well, but I am still kind of a novice when it comes to stamps. I'm not the best at stamping. So if you have any tips and tricks for me, I thought Mod Podge was really gonna be my lifesaver for this, but it still came out a little bit bled through in a couple of spaces. So yeah, leave any of your stenciling tips down below for me. To kind of erase my mistakes, I took a piece of sandpaper and just went over the stencil to again distress it, and that kind of works as a little bit of a magic eraser to smooth out anywhere that the paint bled through. I added my trusty jute at the top, and then using some lace, and it's literally called a farmhouse ribbon from Crafter Square, I made a simple X bow and added a little bit of cotton to the side. I told you today's DIYs were going to be quick and easy ones, and this one takes the cake, but I think it adds a great farmhouse touch. I already have it displayed in my kitchen and love that farmhouse feel that it adds. The galvanized rooster is from a Farmhouse Sign that we're actually going to be using in the next DIY. And the burlap canvas I found in Crafter Square, I had never seen these before, so I was really excited and picked up a couple of them. I did use my Cricut spatula tool just to get that galvanized rooster off of the sign without breaking him or kind of messing up the sign too much. You can use hot glue to adhere the rooster onto the burlap canvas, but in my case, I just used some of the glue dots that the Crafter Square section sells. I really like using this because I might want to use the galvanized rooster maybe in a year on a new DIY, and it's a lot easier to remove if you don't use hot glue. The final step in this DIY was giving it a little bit more of a weathered look by distressing it with a bit of brown paint. Now we're going to be using the sign that I just showed you in the previous DIY for this craft. I also went back and used one of the calendars from the 2023 collection. Just a reminder to everyone, the Dollar Tree does come out with the new calendars in August. I have seen a couple of sneak peeks on Instagram of what the new calendars are going to be this year, so make sure to start keeping your eye out for those calendars that might start popping up soon. After I disassembled the front of this fence sign, I decided to go with the Home Sweet Home image. I really liked it with the flowers coming out of the pot. It kind of reminded me of what we did with the first DIY. So I traced this out and then cut it. Instead of using hot glue or Mod Podge, I just went in with a trusty glue stick. I got these jumbo ones from the Jot section of Dollar Tree, which is kind of like their school and office supplies. For the horizontal sections of the fence, I took a really dark gray color. It almost looks brown. It's called Elephant by Waverly. And then I distressed it with a bunch of white just so that it went better with the background of our calendar image, and used some hot glue to glue those in place. You'll also notice that once I put the calendar image on top of the fence, we kind of lost the lines in the actual different pickets of the fence. So I went in with that same dark gray color called Elephant by Waverly and just made the lines a little bit more defined so it looked more like an actual fence post. Thank you all so much for watching. I will not have a new video out next week since it is 4th of July. I hope you all enjoy it and have a wonderful holiday. Until next time, keep searching, keep creating.